Welcome to Monmouth in Focus, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County. I'm Commissioner Director Tom Arnone here, and I'm honored today and joined by Chip Craig, Associate Executive Director and Chief Business Officer of Interfaith Neighbors, and a very good friend of mine. How you doing, Chip?
Commissioner Arnone, I'm doing great today.
Great. So listen, the nonprofits are a backbone of the county. I've said that to you and so many others for so long. And you know, Interfaith Neighbors is one that's known, Monmouth County, the whole widespread of Monmouth County, because all the great things you do in Monmouth County. So how did Interfaith, how did it get started? And I know you do a lot for the homeless there. Can you touch a little bit on that?
Sure. Well, how we got started is a very interesting story. It goes back 35 years. That's when Interfaith really started. Wow. 35 years ago here in Monmouth County, a number of faith-based organizations, temples, parishes, Protestant churches got together and were addressing the issue of homelessness. Wow. And they were all doing their own set of projects to help, but they ultimately came together and said they thought they could do a whole lot better if they came together as one organization. And from that, the original 7 joined into a nonprofit organization called Interfaith Neighbors. And from that point, homeless prevention has been part of our work. The county has supported us considerably over those 34 years to keep us in that program. And really our work in homeless prevention goes to rental and mortgage assistance. So this is a program.
Do a fine job.
It's one of those programs where folks in the county need to understand how much the county has supported this situation. And what it really addresses is folks who have really run into a difficult time, hardworking folks in a home or rental situation, and we try to keep them in that situation to get through that hard time. So we service between 300 to 500 families a year. During the pandemic, it exploded to twice that number.
Wow. And I know that, there's so many different areas. People realize, obviously, that's the main focus of Interfaith Neighbors, but there's so many other branches that you guys hear, like the meal services program. Can you touch a little bit about how many meals you put out, and that people have no idea that service that you are really giving people the ability to eat?
Well, that is sort of our the largest program of Interfaith Neighbors. It's called the Meals on Wheels program, but it's the Monmouth County Senior Nutrition Program. So we exist in that program because of the county funding that comes through to us for senior homebound and congregate nutrition. This is a program where we have 1,000 meals out to homebound seniors every day. And a lot of folks don't understand that is what the Meals on Wheels program in Monmouth County entails. 1,000 meals out to homebound seniors every single day. We also service 6 to 7 senior sites across Monmouth County where there's congregate settings, folks can come together. The thing about the Meals on Wheels program that's so significant and the support that we've had over the years from federal money and the county money, frankly, and donors to Interfaith Neighbors, is that our folks going to those doors are probably the only person that homebound senior sees through the week.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
In many of those circumstances, that's the only person they see.
Well, I know that you guys are always increasing the services, and I know that you have some other initiatives, and one that you could touch a little bit about is the launch program there that I'm actually not even that familiar with there.
Well, it's somewhat new. It's an outgrowth to workforce development that we've been doing for 8 or 9 years in Monmouth County, and it's a program that's open to all Monmouth County residents. It takes a little bit of explaining. The Launch Center program, we really try to meet folks where they are in their pursuit of career development. And when we say career development, we're talking about folks who are looking to get into careers that don't necessarily need a college education. There's a lot of programs today where certification, whether it's in medical, whether it's in solar, whether it's in CDL, driver's licensing, we try to meet folks who are trying to better their lives and through employment, and to get them into a program of ours that is pretty significant in terms of skill, development, and then helping them break the barrier that is holding them back from developing that career. For instance, Many of the folks we deal with in that program don't have child care, so they can't really get into a program like this. We'll try to find the child care and pay for the child care for them. So it's a program for all of Monmouth County. It's based in Asbury Park at the Launch Center on Springwood Avenue.
Well, let me know. We could touch on it after this segment, but let me know if there's any ability for us to be somewhat to take a look at that, because we are having a tough time with employment right now, the county, and we're looking for CDL drivers and all those individuals. So maybe we could touch base on it at another time to see if there's anything that we could partner with.
Sure.
So we all came through COVID-19, and it was difficult for us. It was very difficult for the nonprofits because just the difficulty and complexity of just structuring things. I'm hoping, and it was our initiative, the county, were we able to help the nonprofits and obviously Interfaith in particular? Were we able to assist you guys there through that process?
Well, again, the two programs I touched on already, the homeless prevention and the Meals on Wheels program, both of those programs became urgent programs for the county during the pandemic. And as I mentioned, in the homeless prevention program, our numbers exploded. It was twice as many families we were called on to support. We couldn't have done it without additional assistance that the county was able to give us. Where that was coming from, the county had funds, whether it was from federal funding, but we were able to get allocated funds to keep folks in homes. Sadly, many folks were in motels, but we were able to keep them at least with a roof over their head during the pandemic. The food distribution moved from congregate sites to more people at home. So our 1,000 meals a day developed into like 1,300. We were going to motels delivering meals. Couldn't have done any of that without the additional resources that the county was able to bring.
Great. Well, on the last thing, I just want you to touch real quickly on, because it's one of my favorite, Kula Farms there. Then we'll wrap this up. Can you just tell people exactly about that? Because it's real special.
It is special, Commissioner Arnott. I'm glad you mentioned it, because if folks are ever in around Asbury, it's probably the most unique part of our work. We have a very comprehensive neighborhood revitalization program in the west side of Asbury Park, and the Kula Urban Farm is special. We have hydroponic farming there. We have a farm without borders. It's on the west side of Asbury Park. It's a community-oriented. A lot of learning goes on there. A lot of nutrition and wellness development goes on for folks. But with all the programs we've been able to initiate over the years, that's one that's about as unique as any.
Terrific. So, I know that I want to thank on behalf of you and your whole organization there, because truly you make our life so much easier, and you reach out to a bigger amount of individuals than we could ever reach to. And plus, the word fits well, interfaith. They have faith in you there. And, and that's a big thing with people. So I want to thank you. I want to thank all your volunteers, your organization, and I know that you're very accessible to be able to reach out to there and for any information. And we're very, very fortunate that I think you said 30-something years ago this organization was created, but it's all the people that came up there and really brought it to what it is today, which has expanded largely.
And the support of the community, the county, and our volunteers, you're right, that's what's been able to make this work so well for 34 years.
Well, Chip, thank you very much for being part of this show. This is great information to the people, and it's something that people have to realize. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of help going on behind the scenes, and at the end of the day, people might not know it, but as long as it's getting done, that's what the important initiative is. Right. So that's all we have for this segment of Monmouth in Focus, and I'll see you next time.